Hi everyone, it's Rosina. Welcome back to Twins and Stitches. Today I'll be showing you how to moss stitch. Moss stitch is this beautiful stitch where we have these alternating posts. Here they're in different colours so they're easy to see, and it's super quick and easy to make. We will start by chaining a multiple of 2. In order to chain, we first create our slip knot. To do this, we place our yarn in front of our first 4 fingers, split your fingers in 2, wrap it round, through and forward. Flip your fingers around, part your fingers, go in underneath and grab the bottom yarn, pulling it up like an A shape or a triangle, and then get the other yarn, the other loop, and pull this up. Hold the tail end and pull up. This slip knot is currently quite big, so we're going to pull the tail end, that is the yarn that is not attached to our ball of yarn, and we make it a smaller size so that we can put our hook in. We are ready to chain. To chain, we are going to yarn over, which is this motion of putting yarn onto our hook, and pull this through our current stitch, which is our slip stitch. So that's 1. Do that again, yarn over, through our current stitch, 2. Yarn over, through, 3. Yarn over, through, 4. You can count how many stitches you've done by counting the V's. So we have 1 V, this V shape, 2 V, 3 V, and 4 V. Continue until you have the width that you want for your project. I decided to chain 30 stitches. Make sure the number you chain is a multiple of 2. If it's not, just add 1 more chain. We now start from the 4th chain from our hook. This is our first chain, this first V, this tiny one. This is our second, this is our third, and this is our 4th. We have 1, 2, 3 that we are skipping, and we're going into our 4th chain from our hook. We're then going to do a single crochet. This involves, once you're in the stitch, you yarn over, go through the current stitch, and you then yarn over and go through the 2 loops on your hook. That is 1 single crochet. After our single crochet, we chain 1. So remember, we put the yarn on our hook, we yarn over, and we bring through our current stitch. Now what we do is we skip the next V and go in the next one. So we skip one, go in the next, and we do another single crochet. So go in, yarn over, through, and then yarn over through both 2 loops. And again, we chain 1, we skip that next stitch. So we skip this V and we go into the next one. So we go in, we yarn over, go through and through. So that's our single crochet, and we continue this till the end of our row. So we did a chain, remember, skip the stitch, go in the next. I will meet you at the end of our row. And now I am at the end of my row, so I skip this chain and go in the final one. So we yarn over like normal. At this stage, if you want to change colour each row, or you want to change colour at this point in your project, do not yarn over just yet. If you're continuing with the same colour, you can continue just as normal. If not, get your new colour. This is a slightly darker shade of green that I have chosen to use. And what we do is we make a little loop, not a slip knot, just a loop. Attach it onto our hook, and we pull this through instead of a yarn we were using before. I now cut the yarn we were using before, and we now work with the new colour of yarn. I'm now going to go ahead and chain 2. We chain 2 at the end of each row. I then turn my work around, and we're going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Now what we do is we need to identify our chain 1 spaces from the previous row. Our chain 1 space is just this gap here. So on the first row we also have these bigger gaps. Ignore these. These are the natural holes that form when we do stitches into our starting chain. Instead, our gaps are here. You see how we have a stitch here, like you see that V, a stitch here, but just a gap here. That is the gap where we chained 1 before. So we are going to go ahead, go into this gap, do a single crochet as before, chain 1, and go into our next gap, which isn't this huge gap, it's this smaller gap here. And then we yarn over, go through, yarn over through. So we're doing single crochets. Chain 1, so remember after each single crochet you chain 1. And then we go into the next gap, which is just the one here. We go in, yarn over through both loops. And then we chain 1. And then we do that again. This is our next gap. We go in, yarn over through the 2 loops. And then we chain 1. And again, we go into the next hole, which we can identify as just being the one here. Yarn over through both. And we continue until the end of our row. You see this colour is just slightly darker. When we get to the end of our row, we now have our gap here, and we then have another gap here. So this is our chain 2 hole from the previous row. So all we do is we go into this gap and do the exact same as before. Remember, because we're at the end, if you want to change colour, do not yarn over with your yarn. We can change colour again if you like. I'm now using a dark green. Remember, you make a loop and you simply pull this through. You then chain 2 with just one of the yarns. And remember, you can cut this tail off just so that it stops getting in the way so much. Flip over your work, and again we're going to work into our first gap. Chain 1 and go into our next gap, which is just here. I'll meet you at the end of the row. I've been going back and forth with my colours, and this is what it looks like so far. There are many loose ends, but do not worry about those. I'll be showing you again how to do a row, this one having a better colour contrast to the rows I showed before. We chain 2 in our new colour. In this case, this is green. And now, if you change colour, it's very obvious to tell where the chain 1 space is, and that is simply right before the V's, right before the posts essentially. So the first one will go just before, which is here. So what we do is we put our hook in, we yarn over and then go through. Chain 1, right? Remember, we chain 1 between each single crochet. The next gap between the 2 V's is here. We yarn over, go through, yarn over through the next 2. And we do this again. Chain 1. Single crochet in the next gap. Single crochet in the next gap again. Chain 1. Chain 1. Single crochet in that next gap. Chain 1. Single crochet in the next gap. Chain 1. Single crochet in the next gap. Chain 1, single crochet in that next gap, chain 1. We then go into our final stitch, which remember is simply the final gap, which you can see by sort of pulling a stitch apart. We can find a gap here, and then we swap colour, and that's how you do your moss stitch. I have now finished my moss stitch design. I have finished the amount of rows that I want, and I think it's really beautiful. It's a really lovely colour gradient. I love how the rows interlap with each other, how they go in between each other. I think it's really beautiful, and this stitch is perfect for so many different projects. If you're making a cardigan, a blanket, anything really. Even in the same colour, moss stitch is also very beautiful. Now we can see we've got all these loose ends, and these must be woven in if you're making a project. And now we have finished weaving in the ends. Look how that is nice and neat. And that is it done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!